This one's really fast and simple. I'm still awake. Trying to fix that sleep schedule, basically. Standard fare for people with ADHD that wake up at nearly 5 p.m. on a Saturday, and then No, anyways, moving on. So this is the inertial accelerator vacuum condenser rocket injector system for any direct injection engines. So it's going to take a given amount of air. We're going to take my dog outside briefly to walk and pee. So it's like, what's a given amount of air? It doesn't really fucking matter to me, truly. Remember the whole thing that I talked about with there's this, vacuum. So it's like, okay, so let me give you this. All right, so it's like I have a pump here. It pumps it up this water. It's standard air pressure water. All right, goes up to this reservoir. You know what this reservoir is? It's not a very standard reservoir. Okay, so it starts putting pressure down below, and it has this little spinny vortex effect because there's cones. That's right, there are cones there. And then it goes into another cone, and it spins faster because there's a smaller cone, and so inertial acceleration is maintained, meaning momentum and conservation, so on and so forth. Right-hand rule effect, probably. The given static polarizational field, blah, whatever, who gives a fuck? I never care about this. Anyways, put a fucking stupid tube in the middle. Like the dust collectors for the vacuum shit. Alright, so then it's going to go down into like a lower pressure, larger area, like a Jules Thompson, because its view of events says, I'm really highly pressurized, I might be spinning really fast, and while yes, no, I am getting very much sent down towards this tube, I have now expanded into this ginormous chamber. It is vastly larger and it's much, much less pressure. There's a nozzle, of course, blah, blah, so on. Then these tubes, the vacuum area, so on, right? Yeah. Well, there's heat that's getting produced by these vortex generations. So it's like, all right, here's some water next to it. I'll just allow for it to vaporize itself in this lower pressure, because of course there's still steam there. And then it's going to condense. But it's like, this vacuum thing, it goes all the way down to this larger to then a smaller, but there's more of them. And then there's even smaller, but there's even more of them. A reverse Jules Thompson. Holy moly, that exists. That's no way. Really? Of course, obviously. Of course it exists. It's a reverse Jules Thompson cycle. But it's like, I'm using inertia. That's right. It's conserved because of gravity. I.A.V.C. And guess what? If I make a certain amount of heat on the boundary layer of this tube, I get wicking convection effects that reduce the given amount of pressure, head pressure, and then allow for it to, what is this thing called? Buoyancy, I think? Travel up to the top and increase the amount of pressure above. So anyways, simple basic shit for me. Condenses, goes into reservoir on the bottom. Now it has, of course, exchanged the heat from the air, concentrated into the bottom. You get the picture. Well, of course, heat has to go somewhere. So this is radiator reverse Jules Thompson. It goes up. It goes small, medium, and big. No more vortexes, though. Instead, in this one, we are using pressure differentials to allow for a phase change. And heat, of course, is there, so it will more likely, if you manage to move it fast enough, create a given faster ventrally. So all we have to do is put these tubes over here. It's moving really fast over here, given this vortex. No, it's not. It says, I am not. I have done this thing where I have resonated this given ventrally increased lower pressure over here to here to here to here to here. goes into a larger chamber, to his version of events, a capillary, to a medium, to a larger. Joel Thompson phase change. So it's like, all right, well, it's inertial acceleration. No, it's not. Actually, this one's just the vacuum. This is a vacuum. Just so you know, it's a vacuum field effect. It has nothing to do with inertia. But you said it was inertia. Yeah, well, you know, technically speaking, it's conserving a degree of inertia with a momentum, eventually vacuum, blah, 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 gravity, buoyancy, blah, 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 blah. Lots of words and phrases that mean it's basically a double eight that has a pump in the middle. And it's meant to be like a 1-to-1 ratio, so it moves fairly efficiently through it, using the heat generated thanks to outside pressure and pump giving it heat. Which pressure is inertia, right? It's momentum, it's movement. All kinetic is movement. So, like, yeah. So it's like, just fucking lay off on that one. Anyways, moving on. Okay? It's like, what is the inertial acceleration engine here? I love this one. You'll love this one. This one's really simple to understand. I have inertia going this way. Well, there's an equal opposite. Newton says. It's been pretty fucking law-like. Consistent, almost, you could say. I haven't changed that one. Gravity, okay, sure, but not this opposite effect. So like, what if I made this rebounding? I capture it, I divert it off to the sides, and then I put a little bit of a spinny doodah hickory bullshitteries, and it pushes it forward. But what if I did that such that the front that was moving forward, that opposite effect, happened to get added to it, because it's spinning. Now, what if it went upwards, and then back down, and then it went up sides, and it went to, but then eventually it has to hammer itself in a single point. Inertial acceleration. Engine. So it goes over, and then it goes up, and it, right there, single point. Drops all inertia into that. Now, granted, there's loss along the way, quantum, information travel through given densities of material. Beam ba-doom ba-dum ba-doom ba-doom ba-dum ba-dum. The conversion losses. Every step of the way. Every single damn molecule, element, particle. Oh my god! It's insane! How do they do it? Apparently there's like this resonant tunneling, holographic, wormholey, bullshitty thing that they do. Meanwhile, it sounds an awful lot like you have a spike wave that suddenly appears from a given wave, like a trampoline that goes down into this given field that you have right here that's fairly ordered, and then, boop, comes up over here with the same information. Sound about right? It's a wormhole, guys. It's a wormhole. It's a wormhole. We're cool fucking people. Holographic wormhole. It's like, alright, so I make a diaphragm that's like that. Kick it around the right way. Get 3 of them. Blah, 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 blah. Fires it off towards the front. It goes front. Fires off back towards front. Fires off back towards front. Do it the right resonant. Forward, backward, forward. Inertial acceleration forward. Only one direction. The cheapest, most efficient way of basically reflecting kinetic forward. Well, now let's just take this for a really quick little gander. What is this called? An acoustic pump, sir. Correct! It's acoustic pumping. That's right, it's an acoustic pump resonant frequency. With the right ones in the right array, like a puzzle piece. In a 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional movement, because time, that thing, exists, entropetically speaking, in a causal, not causette, apparently. It's not causette, I kept calling it causette. It's casual. It's the business casual. Oh, casual? Whatever, the sets. Anyways, so it's like, alright. So what does this mean? I have an acoustic pump that go burr really well with vacuum of sucky suck force. Make real fasterfied the acceleration of the air in the fuel. Given density and, phase change, nothing at all. Just allowing for, transfer more quickly for less energy. A spinny, vibrationy thingy doohickory. This instance, it's a toroidal donut, effectively. I do it the right way with the right shape. It's an injector now. It goes up, it goes down, it spins while it does it. But it's not really quite a donut. It opens up and it closes in. And then it goes like a diaphragm for your headphones. Oh yeah, give me that bass. Big long strokes. Give me that mids. Lots of little miniature strokes heading towards you. Give me those highs. Lots of little miniature strokes, doesn't move. Headphones. Diaphragms. Sine wave frequencies. Music to my ears! Not for you, though, I'm screaming. So music to my ears. So it's like, alright, cool. Guess what? Put the right field effect, because fuel has this field, given charge, air has this given air charge. If I put fuel around this, it also cools and densifies the air. I can also allow for a great vortex. Hey, there's this thing where if you vortex, it goes hot that way, cold this way. They make several vortex, like I talked about, which is this phase change, Jules Thompson, reverse Jules Thompson thing, acoustic blobbity shitty blah thing, right, Well, guess what? I have a massively increased efficiency pump. I have a compressor. It goes into, what is this? It's like a teardrop-shaped aerospike kind of ish, more coney kind of style, pine coney-ish, just stuck in there into like a chamber with a mixture of air and fuel, and it sparks towards the rear, races along the sides, and then there's the center. Wait, but it's like, look at this, look, give me a second. I put these waves, these little these little lenses. This guy is some French fucker. I've never heard of him before. There's some plastic curvature circles on a fucking rectangle, and it makes it fucking magnify light in a bent pattern. That's all it does. Well, guess what? Air can be a bent pattern. So it's like, alright, so I'm moving it right, it bounces from that, it goes in, it's like Tesla valve, sort of. But you put the right channels, it races along the channels. Sort of like having stuff in a stoichiometric mix of methane and gas, and it accelerates the given combustion along those channels, but not here where it does not have it. So it races faster along the cone and along the sides of the chamber, heads towards this teardrop-shaped bellend nozzle sort of thing. It's not really a bellend, it's not really a nozzle. It's kind of a nozzle, but then there's a teardrop there. Why is there a teardrop? I have to cool this fucking head somehow, bro. But there's a hole in there this time. And I got those little circle things. What does it do? Allows for it to skip over these little pockets with those little channels vertical. From wider to smaller, not at all. It's just straight with these little waves along the vertical channels. So think about like the back of a jet engine shroud. So it's like housing or whatever you want to call it, because they're all kind of the same thing. Truthfully, stator, alternator, generator, it's the ERS apparently. Moving on. It's like, alright, so you put that around, but you curve them a little bit. And so what does it do? It races over that way, very fast. And then it leaves this slower pocket. So it races towards this, it rebounds, this catches up to it, boom! Then I can pump it in. because that rebound of pressure, guess what? It suddenly shot forward. There's a huge degree of pressure. There's a degree of resistance. There's a little bit having, already moved in. There's a teardrop-ish, but it flares out at the bottom. All right, so bulbous, holes same diameter all the way through. Very, very consistent. And then it goes from bulbous to flare out with little flanges. They call them flanges. You can call them flower petals. You can call them fucking whatever the fuck. I don't care. They're feathers fine. They're fucking waveguides, essentially, with waveguides along the edges. And some grooves and channels and slots and so on. You get the picture. So what does it do? It races out the exhaust quite dramatically fast. In fact, this is a bell end right there. Of course, I don't want that on the head. So what does that mean when I have these little slots in between where the flowers and the little feathers and the blah, 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 blah is? It no longer is a bell end. That is correct. It expands rapidly, like a Formula One ignition inside of a chamber that then sprays out jets of flames to burn the rest of the given air-fuel mix inside of the cylinder. Okay? But it allows for insanely high flow rates once the pressure has achieved a certain point and moves in a hyper-velocity flow through this given area. Because, of course, it's slower at first, but it's small, it's thin, on the sides. It's a teardrop, right? It's got little stators. It has to hold it somehow. And it's got a hole in there, in the teardrop, that then expands. So it goes from a nozzle to a massively increased lower pressure zone, to its version of events. And then it happened to be much, much higher pressure. But then it rapidly accelerated through, because of course that's a lower pressure. Boom! Now, what does that leave? A massive vacuum at the rear of the combustion chamber inside of the head. Well, actually, not really. This is shocker here. This goes into your direct injector for your Toyota Camry shit. Fucking inline 4 shit. That's right, it's that small, tiny nozzle shit. This goes real well. I stick a freaking little manifold effectively to it, with a fuel rail essentially next to it. And it's a whole thing. It's not really fully that, but you get the picture. And it goes constantly. Air and fuel, it's very hot. I don't need spark. Perfect stoichiometric burns. Massive. Do you get how many massive this is? This is a lot of massive. Thrust right into a given cylinder. I can keep pounding this fucker in. Go down, expand faster, you bitch. No deflagration, right? No, it's gotta be detonation. Nope, I don't need detonation. I have deflagration rocket injector thrusters into my cylinder for my fucking car. These are basically just a basic upgrade. Take out your what is this, camshaft, right? For your intake, and then here's your exhaust. Change it towards near the bottom, because you want a given, like a Brayton cycle, amount of exhaust to remain in. As it goes up, it compresses. It'll go from top to head, down and out. It suddenly races back out again, and you get the picture. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's a full, true one-stroke injector cycle. And so the reason why I was talking about it is because it was like these fuckers were talking to me as I was watching 337 Speed. Talk about, this is the engine that was banned from racing episode 29. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, they were like, well, your efficiency for your super turbo charger thingy-majig. I'm like, yeah, no, it has basically a generator. There's a clutch setup. It goes from a larger back to a smaller, then it slowly goes back to a larger, disconnects, and then dumps its energy from a turbo, from a turbine that runs the compressor back into the crankshaft. I was able to get it around 25% off. So from 50 horsepower to 37 is what I said. I was like, it's okay. It's really not that good. It's not like my rocket injectors that use inertial acceleration vacuum. What is it? What is this called again? Fucking vacuum Condensing, that's right. I'm condensing the air, which makes it massively easier to compress. As I accelerate it, of course, it's gained compression. Hypervelocity, static mass, airflow, blah, blah, blah. It's like water traveling faster. It creates pressure, man. Water didn't become more pressurized. Why do you keep saying this? It's a non-compressible fluid. Well, you know what? If I condense it, though, it is. It's true. Well, there you go. It's a compressor now, injector system with the fuel, of course, going brrrr. And here's some exhaust. A true one-stroke system, no scavenging effects needed and or even necessary. The reason why I never give this, practically speaking, to almost anyone is because it's like, first off, your crankshaft's not meant to handle a one-stroke. Your exhaust manifold is not really meant to handle this. Your head gasket probably isn't meant to handle this. Your heads probably aren't meant to handle this. I mean, you can time it right away with the right amount of exhaust, that kind of thing. But it's like, there's a great deal of compressed energy in the cylinder, which acts like an air spring that I then added more energy to as an exhaust from a rocket, effectively. And then it goes burr really hard into it. And so it's like, accelerate continuously. No, I don't, dude. It has to slow down at middle dead center, remember? Yes, no. Well, here's this axle that I have. Think about a hollow axle, hollow tube here. We're going to put some waves on it. What are waves? Bumps. What are bumps? What are waves? What's a sine wave? What does it look like? Douche. What do you fucking think? Alright, now we're going to shape it, where it's more vertical in the front, and a longer slope in the rear. Okay, we're going to put some gear teeth on that. Okay, what? Why? Alright, give me a second. We have to have that do this, such that we have these little other gears that attach to that. Now, how do they attach? Well, there's this piston rod here. It has gear bearing thing. Bearing exists, gear there too. It attaches to inside ring gear. That rotates from top dead center for it over to bottom dead center for it. It goes inwards, rotates gear, outer gear teeth, then connect to bumpy wave gear teeth thing. Correct the amount of necessary bumps. You have a up and down. Up and down. But now I have a one stroke. It's always one stroke. And it's like, well, all right. We're not done yet. Right, we're not. So I had a fucking thinking about this. Like, for real, I had a real thinking. I had a real ponderificaties. Because I'm trying to do a whole fucking character. I pondered about it, like, for real. It was like, I was in my group therapy. I tweeted about it. I was like, how the fuck do I make this more, like, balanced as a crossplane? Like, there's a given resonant oscillation pressure inside of this axle over to the frickin', flywheel, and it's clutch. And it's like, then there's still the manifold that needs to have pressure come in. And so it's like, it sucks it from here and here, and they usually do 1 to 2, 3 to 4, right? And it's like, well, actually, no, this time, turns out because it's closer to where the actual power is being put down, the impact hammer that you're trying to have happen needs to be closer, so you need 4 to go off first. Now, I have to have this manifold where it dumps air into the rear, coming in from the bottom, and then air from the front, single, just... But it's like, you get the fuel, whatever, right? And again, it's rocket. So it's a rocket. So it has to suck it in the right way. It's got to do the burrs real well, the vibrationals, and the resonancies, and so on. It'll make it work, okay? It'll make it work. It's condensing it as it cools it with the acoustic pump heat over there, cool over here, vortexy bullshit, which, hey, guess what? That helps with the heating and cooling effect, actually, with the given manifold design for the rotation and so on. And, of course, the manifold has to be able to dump its heat somewhere. And so it's like, actually, this as it goes through, it's just a diaphragm. They help with the acoustic pump, and then that goes off to an air-to-air heat exchanger, which then goes back into the manifold. Standard shit, standard play, because I have a vacuum there. I have the spinny doodah hickory bullshit. I've got up here buoyancy stuffs. It goes back, condenses. What do you know? More efficient. Now, it's like, that's neat, that's nice. Why would you have from 4, it's 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, no, weird, right? You never do that. Like, how the hell would you do a 4, 3, 2, 1? Well, it looks with the bump stops here, with the little waves that are there, with the gear teeth. Is it there, and then it's there further over there, and then it's there slightly further over there. It looks like it works. Maybe you don't see it, but I do. Alright, so standard connecting rod, bearing, blah, blah, blah. You get the picture, but it's like, no. I have to have that connected to a girdle. There's a girdle. I have to put a girdle there. Because I have to have gears on the outside. Just because it rests on a bearing, the axle, doesn't mean that, these bearings are always, they could fly up, they could go off to the side. So as it goes down, of course, from its top dead center, it's going to get rotated over, and then it's going to go down from its version of top dead center. As it rotates down, it moves itself backwards towards its given center, middle dead center, on its axle for the gear teeth. As it rotates from its piston down, from its top dead center. So it, as it goes up, then rotates backwards, and then takes its bottom dead center position and rotates that back up to top dead center, where its bearing happens to be, with the gears that are there from the inside and the outside, with teeth matching, to make this happen. It goes up, and then of course it can go over and then fully go down, and it's got more leverage. Perfectly balanced, some could say, because this is an opposite gear here that's going the opposite direction to, and then I have another gear over here. I have to do it on both sides, to a degree. And then, of course, it has to go to the crankcase where the bearings seals are, of course, for the axle, which is hollow, by the way, which then has to, shocker, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but hollow axles are used for our drive shafts to the rear. I know everything's front-wheel drive now, but, they do have hollow axles, and they are able to get it to transfer to a single point for a gear. Somehow, some way. I don't know how that works. Maybe we can use that same-ass fucking technology we've been using for fucking decades and do that. Anyways, how did they do that? I don't fucking know. Let's go ask the experts on that one. I'm sure we could figure it out. Seeing as I'm a GED having college dropout, SMI, seriously mentally ill person, that came up with this. Look at them. Sharks jumping at the beach. How did you fuck? You're not that smart. Tell us all the things about. It's not working out for them. They're looking mighty stupid over there. Why are they asking me how this works? Anyways. Why am I doing that? Because they keep repeating me. I hate them. So, as it goes from its top dead center and it goes down, guess what? I have the full travel length from top dead center to bottom dead center for its stroke as a power stroke transferred to the axle. There is no sudden change from top dead center as it rotates over, because it's all handled based upon the given slope of the rear of the bump with the gear teeth because I have a gear there, along with a bearing, which also has a gear. So it's like, oh, it actually maintains itself beautifully. It goes down basically constantly. Perfectly. I put a double wrist pin on it. Make it seem like it has an offset. It doesn't, not really. But it's like, why 4, 3, 2, 1? Why 4, 3? Why rear? Because it creates a resonance. It creates a resonance pressure wave from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. It then rebounds backwards towards 4, giving it a given extra little kick. That rotating helical pressure wave in the axle acts like a flat battery, giving extra tensional spring torque. And then we hit it. At the moment it is there at number 4. Boom! Shakalaka, go back down, bitch. Perfectly balanced. 2. Lighter weight. Less components, technically speaking. But not totally. Okay, it's a real caveat. Because it's like, well, I removed your crankshaft. No, it's called a camshaft. You keep getting those mixed. I don't know who you are, but it's a camshaft. Okay? Well, I need no intake. It's correct. I literally never need an intake. Okay, well, you know. Right. So what if these fail? The engine injection, which, by the way, is a single stroke injector technology, which means because I can store that heat in pressure as an air spring, that thing go boingity back out. I'm sure it'll be fine with the other 3 you have, because actually you run the risk with low RPM, by the way. Very low RPM. I'm talking not even above 1,000 of trying to do a wheelie that fucking flips your car. And it's like, it's all with that axle. Your transmission probably doesn't like that, though. And then it's front wheel drive anyway, so it's probably not going to do that. But for certain vehicles, it might just. Now, why do you have this? Because I had a rotary engine that has a top and bottom combustion zone, and then I eventually upgraded it fully to a opposed piston. Each cylinder it has an opposed piston with the rocket engine for the Lemke cycle, because this is a Lemke cycle. It's a single stroke Lemke cycle design because of the axle. It's a totally different design than anyone else is running. It's a multitude of others, but still, it's a Lemke cycle. I coined it, I made it, I designed it. There you go. Anyways, moving on. It's in several of my videos before this, too. And even back then in the Chandler house. So, we're going to move on from that to, it's a rocket exhaust, essentially. And it's like, why would you want this? Opposed piston, 3 combustion zones, center and out. Yep. Right, why would you want that? And it's like, so, the thinking here was sound. Okay, the thinking was sound. I wanted large amounts of torque, small space, because I was going to put it in a bus or a van. Short little stubby nose, don't have a lot of space. I don't want to stick it in this weird cramped little area, so it was like, a rotary engine makes total sense. Make a curved block, I cast, hone it, make sure it has a longer stroke. With the right cooling, girdle, and I have the axle now, a couple of plates. So that way it's perfectly vertical, up and down. Instead of the rotating little bearing gear thing, I moved it into plates. And I've been looking at plate designs. Geometrically speaking, the moment I add 3 moon gears, it becomes vastly fucking harder with these plates to allow for gears to slide, which I talked to Tom Stanton in no way. I left a comment for how that might work for his air engine that he's running right now. It's just a ball, and I'm like, what is this ball doing? This is not how I would run this. Why not just have a rotating valve? It's a plate. It's a plate that rotates. It then allows air in for the given duration that it is there open as it slides around. It then transfers it in, and it goes down. And then it's like, oh, here's another plate next to it. That's the exhaust. If you wanted to do exhaust. And now the top and bottom are both power producing parts. You just got to seal that little, hollow piston rod. And so here's the air that goes in. It's done. Hey, it's a little heavy, but it's not as heavy as you think. And of course, you can tailor it now with the valves instead of timing with this little rod that's on the freaking piston head. I like the idea for what it's worth. I do, you know what I mean? But it's just not a good efficient way to do it. Like for me, it's just not. For him, it probably is, but like for me, it wouldn't be. It's like I have two here. It's the same air that's going to both of them, by the way. It's like, hey, guess what? This is 30 psi you want in. Cut it down to 15. I only need 15 coming in. I'm going to be doubling it. So it's 30. It's like it has 30. Except I have a power down and a power up. Before it was all power down, and because of the rotation of the crankshaft, it doesn't actually really give you that much extra torque to increase a given degree of pressure as it rotates over. But on the bottom, going back up, guess what? It does now. Especially if you have a rotating crankshaft ring, as I put it on my comment for Gray Life. One something, I forget what it was. That's the one I'm at. Instead of my Xenon reality, I'm Gray Life for the ones I just watch people, because like this is my like Gray 1064. So 1064, there it is. So 1064 is the Gray Life channel I have. Gray Life 1064 for my YouTube that I actually watch people instead of on my Xenon reality. I don't watch anyone on that. I just upload shit and I leave it alone. I don't care. So anyways, where am I going with this? The basic premise is that it's, while technically speaking lighter, only slightly, it produces more power for the 15 psi, which actually acts now like a solid 30, but I have different duration as it goes down, and a middle dead center, hole area that I can also rotate as a ring if I so choose, and allow exhaust at the top and at the bottom. If, as it goes up, I want to fully remove all air. So that way it's like a vacuum and it'll accelerate it, pushing down with the given full 15 psi's that I'm going to give it. Jabinge! All duration towards middle dead center. And then it will go back up with that given thrust of a 15 psi. Back up, exhausting, and up and down, 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 baby, oh yeah, don't you know? I get more power, more efficiency. So I have some rotating fucking valves on a cylinder, so it's just so bad. Is this so bad? Is this so bad? I don't have to stick these two ginormous pistons off to the sides like he did. It's all in one area, and it's perfectly balanced, because now it has rotating rings and gears with bearings. So it doesn't produce torque to the bottle. It goes into the prop. It's like, how did you make that? And it's like, that's the rotating, inertia gear bearing thing. It's effectively all that is. So as it goes this way, it then goes this way, sideways, and then that has and so like as a result, it effectively cancels itself out, like rotating propellers. Anyways, you do it the right way, it basically can cancel a lot of it out. to the degree of where as it's traveling forward through the air, the bottle acts like its own version of a tail, like for a helicopter, and reduces because of the air drag resistance change of motion. There's no longer a side to side, like a screwdriver twisting, clockwise, counterclockwise. Instead, it's now more of a opposing down, opposing up, opposing this way as it's trying to do the corkscrew, and opposing this way as it's trying to do the other corkscrew as it goes up and down for the pistons. Perfectly, harmonically, and is regularly balanced. No more do I need to but this, whatever that is. What is this? Not balanced? Oh my gosh. It's can't get it. Can't get it around me. It's disgusting. Seriously, I'm just doing a character. Because it is. It's a little like, why do we do crankshafts like this? What is this? This makes no sense. It just slides up and down perfectly. Where's your opposed piston? No. That's one single. One single. That's all we do. One single. I don't want the extra mass. The extra mass isn't worth it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point I'm trying to make for the guy. It's like, if you do it this way, you have essentially at least 30% more power, and you've literally done nothing but reduced the fuel use by 10%. Not bad, I think. Because it's not getting wasted into corkscrewy, screwdriver clockwise, all that stuff. So, of course, now it has inertia. So it's like that energy had to get put into something. So it's like now it's like a flywheel battery, but it has its own self-regulation of air pressure. I'm gonna move on because that's the size and diameter of valves and rotation and timing. So it's like, where am I going with this? Well, I have an inline 4 here that goes from front in no way anymore, but from rear. And it's like, wherever that power connection, so it's like, why would you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, yeah, like 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Why would you do that? What? And it's like, you don't see it, do you? You don't see it. Okay, let me explain this really quick, because we're going to go with the rotary that we were talking about initially, and then we'll bring that back in. Because I have to explain that for you to understand this, that you have a question about. So, the rotary. Remember those plates? It's like Scottish yoke, except it's not Scottish yoke. It's a bearing that rotates on a given plate, except it's not a plate. It's a crankshaft ring, effectively, that also happens to rotate off of bearings with gears on the girdle, like a planetary gear set almost, except not really. The crank rings here are static. They're a part of the bearing areas on the sides. It's not an open area now. Instead, it is balanced purely off of all of the pistons going the opposite direction, inwards and outwards. Except, it's like, why would you do that? Well, that makes it inherently boom, 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 right? This is already inherently, it's a friggin', what are you talking about? But it goes out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in. So wait. 3 packs. I have 12, so a pack of 3. 4 packs total, actually, sorry. I meant a pack of 3. So 4 packs. It goes 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. In, out, in, and you get it. Perfectly balanced. It's up, side, diagonal, side, diagonal. And then up, and and it rotates like that. But it's like, alright, so you had the one planetary. That was the one slight unbalance ahead. It's like a moon gear. It's constantly facing the same way on the axle bumps as it moves all of the three for all of the four given packs. With the plate that are crank rings, more plate crank ring thing with jigs with a girdle that helps keep oil there, and it acts like a pump as it slides and moves. So it takes it from the bottom, squirts it up to the. But it's like actually because piston rods exist. Okay, so get this part. There's piston rings, and the piston rod. Okay, you'll love this one. Is fitted very tightly, tolerantly to the fucking hole at the bottom. And so it's like the piston head here with its piston rings, with these holes with the compression allows for a degree of fucking air off to the I can't imagine how that happens. How does that work? Then there's a rotating valve in the center, kind of like Tom Stone. It's rotating. There's a fucking bunch of valves there. For him, that's air shit. But for me, it's not. That's oil lubrication. Opens there, has this degree of side like a two-stroke, a hole. Pushes through one side, it goes through the little rings and the skirts, and it goes off around the sides into the ring, and it sucks it up and it goes back in. Oil movement and lubrication for the given parts. Crazy. The rod gets it, the skirt gets it, everything's gotten the things with the lubrications. My goodness. It was insanely difficult to make this happen. Oh my gosh, no way possible to do it. Here's a rocket injector. Totally impossible to make a rocket injector for cars, huh? I heard that this was insanely, no way, difficult, so fucking not possible. Nope. Possible. Turns out I could do it. That's not hard. What's so hard about this? This is easy. This is simple stuff. This is easy. It's not like I'm trying to figure out who's stealing my shit and fucking trying to fuck with my brain, you little bitch. I'm gonna play 13-dimensional fucking chess physics bullshit over here. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Alright, so it's like, alright. So the rotary, it goes up, it goes down. Alright, you see it, right? But it's like the geometry of 3 moon gears, but we can't have them be moon gears anymore. They can't stay constantly facing gear teeth locked in step, one side and the other side. Can't do that anymore. So it's like, alright, so it's like, I have 3. I have not touched this. You're going to see me work literally right now through it. Literally. I haven't even thought about it. It's been years for me. I might have figured it out back then, so maybe it'll pop up, but I don't think so. I'm going to think about it right now. Alright, so the gears as they rotate, we can't have the little piston rods up and down going around a given, so we have to make them slide, right? And it's like, well, no, not necessarily. You can't do slidey McSlides, remember? Why not? I thought that's what we were going for. Alright, so if I unwind and coil, does it go somewhere? Think about a tape measure. Why would you would want to tape measure it? Oh, no. But did you think about it just for a second and go with me instead of trying to predict where I was going with it? No, you did not. So it's like, this is the geometries here. As it goes in and changes and geometry goes out, it's just there's 3 of these fuckers. They have to rotate and rotate and rotate. There's a lot of rotations here. I fucking hate electron orbitals. I fucking hate nucleus orbitals. This fucking sucks. These things suck. This math is terrible. The gears that they have is flitting into moments of time of particles that they can't even measure inside of an electron orbital. for the given pressures as they move. A phononic or possibly kinetic? Is it a gravitation? Is it a... No. It's a quark, if I'm being honest. It's just a quark. It's an informational quark. I want to move on. It's a phononic informational quark. And it collapses out and it spreads forward. Like dun 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 dun. Gets longer. Moving on. Tape measure. Remember? Tape measure. Dun 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 dun. Gets longer. Now, why would I do that? Why would you imagine, if you will, with these rings that are plates, kind of, with gears and then bearings, and then of course there have to be bearing gears on the outside, right? No, there's a girdle. Remember the girdle? Everybody forgot about the girdle. The girdle's is a gear with a 3-part system. So top, middle, bottom. It can, sort of maintain the planetary gears that inside. Of course, there's a vertical, a z-axis as well. So it's like there has to be, gears that way too, right? Absolutely. Now you're seeing where I'm going. As it diagonally changes from this v-axis, yeah, you have to know about dimensional physics, vector angle things. Do you mean Z? No. V is a whole other thing. So it's like this is 5th dimensional heading towards a 4th dimensional hop into a 6th. It's a V. At a diagonal. As it changes its rotation in a 4th dimensional movement, then it goes off into a 6th dimensional form. From a diagonal in no way anymore, it's actually kind of a horizontal, kind of weird thing that technically looking at it seems like it's a potato chip that then suddenly elongated. Because of course there are other gears there. It didn't. It just went from like this Dutch angle kind of flat-ish sort of shape and then diagonaled off as a V and then allowed for this other gear over here, which is a ring gear but with an attached caveat regular fucking planetary gear. With a bearing, because it's a bearing. Really, realistically speaking, it's a bearing. Because it's not a gear. Yeah, you can't use a gear for this. It wouldn't rotate. The teeth don't make sense. So, of course, it has to be a bearing. And it has to have grooved tracks. On the girdle. Of course, the grooved tracks, yeah, sure, they're there. But, this gear has to be attached to there. So it's like this has to have these little finite little arms sticking out. They're called hourglass. Think Green Lantern. It has a ball and then there's cones off to the sides. Think space-time dilation graph. Ball, forward, rear. Cones. Maybe you understood that. Maybe you didn't. There's an ice cream cone with a basketball. And then there's another ice cream cone. And the wide part of the ice cream cone is opposing. Up and down. There you go. Done. Alright, so moving on. What does this mean? It, of course, stays in there, and it's attached to that gear, and it moves over like this, and it has gear teeth over here, but doesn't have gear teeth over there. That allows for it to slide into this groove over there, allowing for it to rotate such that it did perform this elongation maneuver. Even though it didn't really elongate, it stayed the same shape. But not to its relative perspective. Honk honk. You get it? Because, hey, there's got to be a piston rod somewhere here, right? Yeah, so this went upwards. This went and changed the direction. It went upwards. Perfectly 100% straight vertical. The rod that's there, perfectly vertical for the given diagonal that's there. Boop, boop, down, straight, easy. Really strong, too, for its given forces it will receive. There you go. It's basic gear science here, little material science. You know, the right sizes and shapes of stuff with the gear teetheries and the fucking girdles, slidey, groovy, whatever the fucks, you know, and what do you know? All of it now moves in and out with 3 of these little fucking stupid gears, which are regular planetary gears, by the way. And they rotate on the little bump stops as they go up and down. Same basic sine wave with gear teeth on it. Design vertical in the front, a little more so, and then it goes and trails off. 3 of them, they rotate together. So this will rotate faster. Those, while rotating quite quickly, do slowly rotate around this from top all the way back around the top. 12 to 12, clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on your perspective and angle and blah, blah, blah. Girdle doesn't really move. Well, why does it have 3 pieces? Because for it needs to move in a weird little way for this to work. It needs to go up and then up and then over, and the vertical movement of the piston rod, perfectly fine, just fine. But ovals are there, and so everything is still sealed, everything is lubricated, and all of it moves appropriately. Now, unfortunately, this would be a Limke, that's right, axle and crankshaft. There is no one else making this. Shocker. It would be me, and me alone, that made this. Literally, that's how that would work. It would still allow for the gear movement of 3 pistons for the 4 packs of those 3. To be perfectly balanced, because as it diagonals and rotates like that, of course it has others doing very similar things to counter it. And place its given torque, you guessed it, right into that axle. Woohoo! Very efficiently also into the pistons to help it go back up. That is correct. But it's a pose piston. Remember the pose piston? This one was way simpler. This is a big old ring gear at the top with a bunch of fucking stupid other, versions of the little bumps. There's a ring gear and bumps on the side that goes over, and it has the whole like piston thing. This just allows for it to slide up and down. Oh, that's a good way to effectively lose a bunch of people. How does that work? Yeah, fuck. I did this myself in my head a while back. I realized nobody is as competent as I am at doing this in their head very quickly. So it's like, let's think about this. So there's a ring gear, it's got the bumpity bumps, so on, so on. But the bumpity bumps can still have a, a hole in it. Right? Whatever. I don't have to care about having a hole because depth is not going to be that big of a deal for me. You know what I mean? It can be very small, even though it has a very long stroke, because of course I have 2 of those stroke links, and then 2 of the stroke links back in. So while it's a fairly decently long stroke, the bore is going to look as if it's bigger. It will be a hybrid in that instance, where it is a larger bore to a shorter stroke, except not really. It's a longer stroke to bore, thanks to the 2 pistons and the strokes going on, both out and back in. So it's like, all right, so there's a slot in there, right? Yeah. That's an easy enough way to put it. Let's put it this way. There is a definite slot, except it rotates. Okay? So it's like it has to opposably rotate. As it opposably rotates, it spins, and it moves this gear back up, and it goes back down. We already have these threaded rods. They rotate them one way and go down. They rotate them and go back up. Right? Screws, right? No. Double helical is what this would be. And it's like, because it must go up and then it must go down. It has to spin a different direction. Oh wait, no, it can't do that because of course they're constantly opposed, rotating, and so it has to rotate always the same direction. So double helical threads do that. For this gear, goes up, it goes down. Pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. It was a big craze on YouTube like a few years ago, and everybody was doing it basically. And so it's like, well, what do you know? Here's a nice, easy, fucking super fast. Why didn't you do that for this? Why didn't you? Because there's a piston rod that cannot be nearly as long as that with the amount of weight that is there. Well, yeah, because the double helical is inside the piston rod. And the corkscrewy thingy, guess what? You know, the rotating part of the rings. With why are there bumps? There are bumps on the inside, not on the bottom part, the inside diameter. There are bumps there. You know what I mean? Which are not. No. Up rotates, squeezes up easier. It gets to the other one, it suddenly changes its geometry as it's rotating, and allows for, as it's rotating the gear, like a, what is this, a crankshaft that has a mark for top dead center for one of the cylinders? Well, guess what, same thing. This pack of 3 suddenly has an easier time going back down because of the geometry of the bumps and the gear teeth. And so, as a result, it's more efficient. And as a result, I now have an opposed piston, 12-cylinder, center and outside. Which, by the way, I want to talk to people about this one. All right, because like this middle dead center thing, I don't think people really understand. My middle dead center is actually between the outsides and the middle dead center of that cylinder. That's where the actual oil goes. And I also have to pump oil all the way up to the top, which is fine. That I can do. That's not that big of a deal. And it can drain back down, and then it can still eventually get to the girdle, and then that helps with the pumping. So you get the picture. But it's like, I wanted people to understand what that was before they said shit. Because, like, they're dumb, and they don't understand things. Anyways, these are rotating ring gears. They fit in a given groove and slot. As they rotate, they suddenly open, exhaust. That's it. Because that's all I need. Because, oh, what is this? A rocket injector! Remember the rocket injector? Remember the rocket injector? Do you remember how fucking stupid you sound right now? I can still make that suck air in, too, with a secondary one, and boom, here's a fucking spark. So you're stupid, and I'm smart, and you should shut the fuck up. So it's like, look, rocket injector, 3 rocket injectors, times how many? No, well, actually, it's double, because redundancy. I do 2 on both sides. Because I have rotating ring gear. At the edges, you get the picture with the center, and so on. And so it's like, well, you know, as it rotates, that allows... Yes, no, I'm aware. It's so cool, right? Well, it is. It's cooled. It's cooled along the sides. There's fluid there with oil there, and as a result, with coolant as well near it, it cools the sliding ring valves that rotate on bearings with fluid that's cooled constantly. The whole cylinder's cooled. Here's my fucking waste heat generator fucking concept radiator. Pretty simple shit. Guess what? Piezoelectrics. inside of a aluminum, whatever, I don't give a fuck. And here's a diaphragm, Sterling. This is lower pressure, this is higher pressure, air, hole, venti, blah, blah. As it goes through, hey, guess what? Lower pressure, blah, blah, blah. It goes through, bang, bang, boom, 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 vibrational, blah, blah, blah. Acoustic pumpity wumps. And then it's got, like, hey, it comes over here into reservoir, goes into this design of, what is this? This is a certain size of diameter capillary. Let's say it's capillary. Fucking fuck it. And then it's like, hey, this is medium size, this is larger size, it goes back into smaller size, and it does that consistently until it gets to the other side. Well, guess what? If it's thick enough like this, with the correct intake, small, medium, large, back to small, medium, large, and then back to all of that from that large down to medium and then small, I create a double Jules Thompson acoustic pump that happens to, during heating and cooling phases and the diaphragms there within, I make electricity! Because piezoelectrics make electricity for heat. Not at all. Mechanical stress and strain. Vibrations are exactly that. Heating and cooling, mechanical stress and strain. Suck it! It's pretty efficient. 90% efficient for the diaphragm because it's piezoelectrics. And, of course, all the fins. And, of course, the tubes in the reservoir. So, in the vibrationals. So, guess what? It's about 90% efficient for the given wasted heat. Captured into electricity. It's not. Of course, there's degrees of loss. But, like, fucking whatever. They're so weird about this. Like, it'll never work. Nope, we already have similar designs that basically do a very similar design to this. Why not? You fuck off. Oh, you didn't know that? You're a dummy dumb that just said something? Well, we would use it if it worked. Oh, yeah, no, we would use it. We would all do things that are better. Huh? Let's look at this. Nope. I have no time. I want to go to bed. So we're going to finish this really fast. We're going to do this really ridiculously fucking fast. It goes into a Jules Thompson almost-like effect. Cycle turbine. Axle, hub, turbine, casing turbine, counter-rotation of blades. There's hollowness to the blades as it goes through, up towards the top. There's these little stators there. It captures, it turns, it creates a degree of tolerance that has a vacuum that sucks in air as it goes underneath. And then from the top, back down, but then this has to go and travel all the way towards the rear at several different parts of this axle turbine part with stators there that you put through because it has holes, and there's ways to put bearings in a tube within a tube with fucking, I'm gonna murder some people. They're saying it doesn't work. I'm like, fucking shut up. You are idiots! Be quiet! Alright. So it goes all the way towards the rear. Then it curves in to a medium-sized part. It already has this degree of air coming in from higher pressure from the front and then the middle and then the rear until it eventually uses that air pressure and the given Venturi effect. With Bernoulli being right there too. Oh my god, wow, smart person finally. We got a smart person here. But anyways, it curves over. It helps the curving effect because vacuum, multiple stage vacuum area, the vacuum behind the blade, more degrees of torque energy imparted high pressure area. Travels faster that way. Multiple fastified acoustic bullshitteries. Pump spinny Madoo hikey craps. Is effectively a good way to put that because it's essentially it's a bunch of holes and hollow tube and it's another with the blade too. Anyways, moving on, it curves in. There's stators there that are basically slight stators, and then you have like the little flower, curved sphincter thing. It's a way to put it. It's, like flower petals curve in, so that curves in and goes out back towards the blade. So that's the center, back down to the out, and it does it again. And it curves it to a much larger degree of blades. Does it again, yep. And it goes out. It has small, medium, large, all put into one. Vacuums here behind each blade from a smaller blade, but more, of course, blade angled for higher pressures. And then this is a medium pressure with heat right next to it to recapture that degree of, yes, efficiency. And then larger blades for efficiency again. With more blades, too. And since they rotate, planetary gears, they counter-rotate. You remember? Anyone? Yeah, no? They don't exist? No? Planetary gears don't exist, you little fuck-ups? And then counter-rotating props never happened. Never. Not once. Nope, they don't exist. So anyways, all of this works. You just freaking bolt it together the right way. Slap it together lengthwise. So it's like, circle, and then link. So it's like, oh, this is a circle, and then a cake has formed because I stacked layers of the circles, and now I have a fucking cake. What do you know? It fucking worked. No. All right. Fucking jeez. You can clearly tell I can hear your little doubt-y bullshit. I've already described this several times in several of my videos. Go watch those. Anyways, that goes from a larger back into a slow teardrop shape of a smaller, elongated blades as they trail off with little waveguide flangy feather things. It makes it more efficient. It reduces wingtip vortice problems, and it gives it greater degrees of torque. Of course, because there's heat, and there's gears, and it has to be some degree of cooling, right? And it's like, gears we can make, fluids, actually this is a Stirling effect at this point. So like the Stirling effect, if this is higher heat and lower heat, pressure, movement, boil off to this, and then condense, it's technically just air-cooled. But it's like, that's not really air-cooled. This is, boom! Shocker! That's right, guess what? Piezoelectric fucking thermoacoustic goddamn Jules Thompson reverse cycle pumps, like I just said, for the inertial vacuum condenser. Oh yeah! Guess what? Produce electricity. Guess what? It goes into, what is this? Is this an iron? I think these are coils with phasing. And so it's a repulse, but then if I use static with iron and eddy current, I then will transfer with the degree of small, this is resistor, okay, that we want in this area. And it's because we don't want it to go through enormously fast. So anyways, it then drops like a coil. So it's like, this is a big magnetic field into a bunch of little tiny coils. Increase voltage. Well, if I rotate that voltage, increase, over and over, and use destructive to constructive, and constructive to destructive to constructive field effects, the pumpy resonances, clicky madoos. Exactly. We then get a very high voltage field capacitor, resonant, static, it's basically a capacitor battery. Like literally, it's a rotating, kind of like a flywheel battery, electrons that then create constant adding in as it gets cooled with the resonant blah blahs, and so then it then adds in to a, oh look, it doesn't want to go back this way, and then it suddenly turns off, go that way now, dump it in for static and electromagnetic fields, and it goes and dumps over here, repulse over there that way, man, go that way, I'm attracted over there anyways. Oh, I have a resistance over it. Boom. It's like, well, no, it's such a short period of time. You have to remember, it's all to do with the resonances in the gears and the teeth and so on and so on and so on. And so it's like, if you time it just right, it's an inertial effect. Where the resonant goes away for the opposite effect, and it actually creates a forward inertial effect. And guess what? It actually got a higher degree of momentum, a larger degree of kinetic, electrostatic, electromagnetic motor. This is a turbine that goes to the fucking, what is this, 1, 2, 3 times 12, it's 36, right? Yeah, 36. 36 combustion zones that are coming out with higher degrees of pressure because rocket injector. Okay, which then go into, what in the bloody motherfuck is this shit? Alright, okay, so I'm gonna look at this. Take a look at this. Look, this is steel, all right? This is steel. And put some ceramic on the inside, ceramic on the outside. It doesn't really matter. It's powder-coated ceramic. It means nothing, right? No, it means something. So I'll put another steel tube around that. And I'll put another steel tube around. Then I'll put a box around it. I'm going to take out all the air. It's going to have Kevlar and ceramic on the inside and on the outside and inside until eventually it's all as insulated as I can get. Now I'm going to put like this degree of vacuum. And then there's a plunger there. And so like there's this teardroppy shaped little valve that's at the end of each one of these fuckers. 36 into 1 to where the turbine is. Of course I have to get the firing order right. So it's 3 3 3 3 3 3 3 3 3, right? That's exactly what that is. Except it's yeah. It's like all right. Cool stuff, right? But it's not, because it's actually, technically speaking, 12, 24, 12, 24, 12, 24, 12, 24, 12, 24, 12, 24, because it's perfectly balanced as 12, and then 24, and then 12, and then 24, and then 12, and 24. No, it's not, right? Right? Come on, man. That's a lot. Come on. It's like, well, unfortunately here, the rotation of the rings soak up the outside and inside momentum harmonic imbalances. But it's like, we don't really have to do that because that's ridiculous. Truthfully, I can make it work just fine with that. But I'm not going to do that. So it's like back to the threes. Packs of 3. It rotates around, so on and so on, but you get the picture. I couldn't do that. It would be insane, but you could do it. Because this is for a bus and a van. And guess what? That resonant frequency, because that crankshaft at the top, the double rings, that adds to the fucking axle, by the way. So I never described that, so let's describe that really quickly. There are these things, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're called axles. I don't know if they're a rod, hollow sometimes. Oh, wait. Why would I do, There's already a vacuum in the center of this thing. There's a hollow axle. So if I rotate this and I give it like that, and I put this thing with a plunger thing, and then the thing, and then it will impart its, with a vacuum and a couple of plungers, its energy, rotational energy mass, into the inside supportive structures of the axle. The axle has supportive structures, yes. Well, they have to be plungers now. That's fine. It's a sliding in piece anyways. So it's like, well, front and rear, both of it attaches, multiple parts. Hey, clamp it down. Suck out the air. Works. It's like a bicycle spoke wheel. Plunger here, plunger there. T over here. Pressure there. It forces down pressure exerted upon it towards the axle. Rotation conserved. Except each one of those is a little tiny axle that's rotating inside of this given tube that goes off into that. The main big boy axle, which all combines several of them, like little multiple tiny gears, into one big gear. Now, why would I do that? It's less weight. and it's able to handle a hell of a lot more torque through it as a result. It produces less heat loss, which is wonderful. Now, why would I talk about this? So there's this quantum vapor pressure, there's no fucking goddamn pressure somewhere else exerting its fucking influence upon us as a pressure that accelerates us somewhere else. There's no degree of a pressure energy field somewhere over here and exerting its quantum vacuum through us field blah 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 effect to us accelerate the thing towards heat death. I've said it times. I've said this, by the way, in multiple recordings. Really? Just 2. But it's still multiple, so. Solves one of the great quantum vacuum mysteries. What do you know? There might be something there. We're gonna move on. So it's like, this is all to describe the one damn motherfucking engine, the inline 4. So it's like, whoa. I see what you're doing here. And it's like, yeah, no. You don't, probably. It's like, remember that valve? It's got a little lowered pressure gas. As it pushes it out, alright, it's very, very low effort to do it. But it's like a spring, it goes back in. Now, there's a high heat pressure racing through. Now, I put a little boundary layer effect, those little overhangs and little long lines and this T-junction with like a little wing and then another little wing in there and there's like these little channels and a little further over there is a big long wider part. It's got these little overhang like little curvy spike, saw teeth, shark fins, but they're curved, baby. They're curved. Why would I do curved? It's like, well, because it allows for it to skip off better. Exactly. It does. It allows for it to curve in and take a curve better. More velocity of flow, less energy used to do it. Now, what does this mean? I can have a much better exhaust system and a much, much tinier spot. Because I have a lot of tubes here, and I need to make a big old manifold to make this happen. This is going to rough the shit out of someone up. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Not as much, anyways. Now, why would we do this? It was hot! It accelerated quite quickly, and it has very low resistance to continuing its travel. All 3 of them come into one, and there's a little space, and then it goes in the pressure there. Of course, it doesn't get pushed into the rest of the manifolds, which of course equals a very large volume. And so then it goes down through a turbine, improving its efficiency. But also it sucks it back. And there's a lower pressure there now in the manifold, and it can't come out as easily. Oh, wait, no. I opened up my exhaust. Whoosh! Less energy is now needed to push it out. Higher degrees of efficiency for the exhausting of the gas. Now, why all of this? Why all of this? And of course, you know about the super turbocharger setup. I just talked about it. Oh, wait, I don't need that. So what the hell does this turbine do? I mean, you got a whole bunch of things. It goes directly to the crankshaft. Yeah, no, it dumps all that wasted heat energy directly into the crankshaft. Now, we're not done yet, because of course we have the catalytic converter. And there's a, oh, what is this? A cooling, and then Venturi, and then Bernoulli, suckety, suck force heat, area, piezo diaphragm, whatever you get it. And then same thing with the resonances of a high flow glass pack, which I already described in one of my previous videos. Actually, I think the literal one before the last one I uploaded, which is about the whole, how they could possibly be looking into their brains, whoever they is at this point, noise people? Okay, sure. Anyways. So it's like, alright. So that seems cool. Why? Why would you do that? Because it's a torque converter. This is a fluid. As it spins, I no longer need an axle. It's like, I want that thing to store a given higher degree, because I'm barely going to run this fucker. Because I don't need that. I literally don't need the torque. Holy Lord, I can have this thing barely work. What is this, 25 RPM? That's good enough. That's enough torque. That's probably fine. There's almost no weight to it. It is the maximum amount of heat and pressure captured into a given amount of work energy I could really do. Because, of course, remember that axle? It's not just the vacuum. It's the electrostatic, kinetic momentum amplification, electromagnetic repulse attract force engine. Dumping from the waste heat generator and the turbine. The electrons. Anyways, moving on. There's electrostatic charge. Gunk, gunk. Eddy current dumping. You wouldn't get it. It's a chemical thing. There's heat over here. Anyways, moving on. It really doesn't work that way, but I'm gonna move on. Again, it's a whole thing. But of course, I have to cool the damn exhaust. You know what I mean? So I have to cool this fucker. Because it's a lot of exhaust. It's big. It's gonna be a big, huge 6.7. Really? My ass. It's a 7.2 liter engine. These are tiny little fucking goddamn bores though. But there's a lot, you know. But it's like, it's not really 6.7 liters. I know bore and stroke is whatever that is, but there's 3 combustion zones. 1 stroked, bro. And I'm like, exactly that. That's exactly the reason why this is not what you think. It's like, hey, remember that rotating thing with the crankshaft? And then the axles? That goes to every single one of those ring valves. If you didn't know that, now you know that. Fuck. That's how they rotate. Okay? Anyways, moving on. So finally, it's like, we got over 80% efficiency for a given engine. This running, get this, at 3,000 RPM with gas, 83 octane gas. Regular atmosphere. I'm not using specialty oxygen or any of that. Produces over 50,000 foot-pounds of torque. But that's because of a rocket exhaust that keeps it constantly pressurized and only bleeds just enough to make it do what it does. And it constantly uses more pressure to push it in and out each and every single time. And then that pressure is captured insanely efficiently. And the heat soak too. Because, oh, you thought I just cast this? Yeah, no, these are much larger bores than you think. I have a sleeve here that's a thermal photovoltaic, thermoelectric, piezoelectric design that has a whole bunch of, that's right, cooling components right next to it. Called engine coolant. What is this? What are these? Heat sinks? No, those are the things that hold the cylinder to the block. Oh, right, yeah. So they're heat sinks. Yeah, and a nice little double flower pattern. So it's like, think about the sun's rays. It has triangles. Think about the sun rays coming in towards the cylinder, and then think about a double X through that. Now, why would you do that? Structural supports are much better now, as it has a compressive load strength far greater with far thinner material there. That is aluminum, of all things. Pretty decent at transferring heat. Still makes a cylinder, by the way, where I'm putting my sleeve in, which is still pretty decently hard. It's got the right holes, it's got the right this, it's got the blah blah blah, you get the pictures on that. And then they trapped more of that waste heat into electricity with this radiator. And then that one. And then, okay, so let's get to the glass pack. And then the resonators and so on. And there's cooling here, and there's an outside tube that goes into, and as it flows faster, it has to go outwards into a larger, like a Jules Thompson, an acoustic, and it comes in with more air. It goes brr brr brr, acoustic, diaphragmy, heat exchangey stuff. It makes electricity for the vibrations. It makes it go from to big, big, big sound. Huge, massive sound. It's a van or a bus that you have this in. Now, because I have a 3 and then 3 and then 3 and then 3, 4 threes, here, 12 total. Guess what happens? With the resonance of the exhaust and the resonance of the applied, with the correct supports inside of the axle, effects of the torsional spring pressure wave inside of the axle as it's rotating and then getting pushed with all these gears and everything else. It massively increases its efficiency for continuation, like that kinetic strike, as it saves that and then rotates it back in to that pressure wave for the torsional spring part and then hits it right at that moment throughout all RPMs. Because there's an exhaust and then there's coolant and there's this thing called a vacuum, rotating valves, and so on. And if you design it with the right sizes and thicknesses and so on, you get this effect throughout all RPM ranges. I massively increase my torque. I massively increase my efficiency and my inertial kinetic momentum every single hit, because there's a resonance going on. And then there's a big push every time. And it oscillates and resonates, and you get the picture. All of it's turned into work energy. With the motor as well, that's there. You gotta have the motor. And so it's like, wow, there's 50,000 foot-pounds of torque at 3K. I don't believe it. I believe it. I believe this. I believe the shit out of that. I'm believing some stuff here. There's believability here. Now, this all comes down to that resonance, the acoustic, the vibration, condensing, because the torsion spring is going and expanding. Well, as it comes back and condenses, inertia gets maintained, concentration, conservation. Similar words, not the same, but actually in this instance, they do very similar effects as they increase momentum and push it to where this is a torque converter, by the way. It's a fluid. As the fluid rotates, that's its pump, isn't it? For helping cool it, isn't it? With a turbine too, right? It directly couples from that turbine and the heat and the cooling. And then the pulse of the coolant, as it has to go through this, and it has to also go through the turbine. And then that helps pump it over to the, what is this again? Oh my gosh, look at these. These are sealed. These are vacuum sealed hardline pipes. Multiple seals. There's ceramics and steels, and you get the picture. Same kind of thing, vacuums, so on. All the way over to this radiator. It's hotter now. Of course, but it also had a buoyancy factor. It started lower over here, and then there's an intake over there that's higher up. It's a smaller, but it can't be smaller, right? It's bigger. It's a much bigger intake over here, and then this is a smaller tube diameter, and there's two of them, but still smaller, coming out for the engine coolant at the top front and the bottom rear. And it creates a semi-Satan Viking. All the rest of it, you get a picture. Resonant, blah, 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 so on, so on. Punching, punching, punching. Lots and lots of kinetic and inertia resonances and reduction because of the tubes inside for the boundary layer, pressure, overhang, channel, groovy things. Like a Tesla valve, except they skip over once they get fast enough. Because they create a cavity, and then they skip over the cavity, because the cavity is then linked with a channeled little hole over there, and then sucks it up over there, but then, of course, it's skipped off, and then it tries to go, and then it creates and it maintains, and it goes over all of them, reducing boundary layer to only these little tiny little airfoil. Oh, wait, no, they're hydrofoil. Oh, wait, are they hydrofoils? Oh, no, they're skippy scoop. Rock stone on a fucking goddamn lake sort of thing. Dunk! 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 What do you know? I have very little boundary layer tube effect problems. Practically non-existent. 95% of it, to 98% once it gets really hot, is gone. Okay? For all of that, by the way. Because the blades have this. That's right, the turbine blades have a version of this to capture more torque and allow for it to do its work more efficiently. For having it spin and curve more correctly. There's a little dimples, a little dent, you get it. Okay? Same thing with the little tubes, the little air channels from there, and it has to turn. So it's like more efficient, faster flow. Except actually more torque. It just has less back pressure. Good stuff. Less efficiency loss. Guess what this turbine is? It is a exactly 2 feet height. It's a 3.5 foot wide motherfucker. Diameter. That's fucking huge. Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. That is why it's ridiculous. That's also why it's behind, as you can tell. And it attaches to the torque converter coupler system. That it's like a big old donut sitting around this thing. So it directly impart lowest amount of distance traveled, highest efficiencies maintained. You get it. Same thing where the little tubes, the hardline tubes, are. It makes it much more efficient to get them in and out and around. This tiny little itty bitty fucking cargo van, standard brand. Let's think Astral. Or no, it's not Astral. Sorry, Astro. Chevy. Yeah, it's an all-wheel drive. That's the version. They have the all-wheel drive. All right, let's go with that. It's that. That's a little tiny. Oh my god, there's a big old V8 in that motherfucker. Single overhead cam. Crap. No offense to Chevy, but comparative, this is better. Well, my dorks, you think I can make this all-wheel drive? Fucking jeez. I don't even know anywhere what this is. I could fly with this level of fucking torque, the right gearing, and that's exactly the point. If I elongate this instead, I'm making it as wide as it was, because it's easy to make it wide like this. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's actually, technically speaking, with all the 4 and the gears and the blah blah, packs, and then you get 12 total in a circle, for the rotating. It all just barely fits. So I never really gave you the depth. The depth ain't amazingly large. You know what I mean? There's a reason why there's very few blades. But the way it travels, thanks to this, makes it vastly more efficient. Yeah. Alright. So it's like, all right, then it has to dump off. I say, well, this is a big, huge, curved tube head. Effectively, it's essentially a funnel. It goes off into one size for the. You get the picture for the what's that thing again called catalytic converter? Why would we even need it? It's perfect stoichiometric mix. Yes. There are no other things than carbon dioxide and hydrogen. There's my nitrogens. I'm burning the air. Oh yeah, no. Well, it'll go through this, and I'm pretty fucking sure it's not gonna care after that. For what it's worth. It's like, well, you do realize, okay, there's always going to be nitric oxide. Well, as it goes through, it's hot and pressure and vibration and blah and spin and so on. And it cools, so it's going to break it apart. The N2Os. Pretty decently. But we're going to move on, because I'm filling up time. Because I want to tell you, there's a reason why it's above 80%. It's actually closer to 90. Actually, a little bit more in the 90s once it gets up to temperature. And it's like, well, why did you do this? This is a stupid engine. Why would you? This has to be terribly expensive. It wasn't. Piezoelectrics aren't very expensive. The thermophotovoltaics, kind of, but they're kind of small. I only need a few of them. Copper's, well, expensive. I don't have a lot of it. And you get the picture. It's not really as expensive as you would have expected. It's still an expensive engine, but it's not that expensive. It's like, hey, here's $15K. Here's an engine. Here's an engine. I have 50,000 plus foot. I mean, I couldn't really measure it. Like, for what it's worth, there's no dyno ever. Let me get my axle out. It's the car. It's the car. You know what I mean? It's like, look, it's going at 50 RPM. Yeah, and that's good enough. Now, in explaining why the rotation and the resonances and the blah-blah-blahs has occurred for this rotating mass of an engine, opposed piston rotary engine, happens to create this impact, massive increase, impact driver that is, wrench driver, increased efficiency resonance all throughout its RPM range. Should maybe now get you to understand why the inline 4 does ridiculous bullshit. And your transmission ain't gonna like it, your drive shaft ain't gonna like it, your tires aren't gonna like this, your fucking axle, none of it's gonna like it. Nothing. And say, if this is rear wheel drive, boom. If this is front wheel drive, crunk. Well, the engine's good. Oh, yeah, but my tires and fucking everything else. Stop dropping it. Where's your lead foot coming from, bitch? I don't have a lead foot. Go away, you damn nasty man. I'm a nasty man. Hey, just take my friggin', resonator, friggin' I.A.V.C generator, fucking radiator, and then this fucking, this turbine too. I'll take my fucking, rocket injectors. Have fun with that. Have fun with whatever that is. Meanwhile, it's like, you only need 1,500 pounds of torque at like fucking barely 1,500 RPM, bro. There's some serious stuff. It's okay. They'll handle that because of the way it's not exceeding head pressures because of the way it's injecting it. Instead of like, oh, it's suddenly 25,000 PSI, or because of detonation, gosh, or 2,500. No, it's within the same cylinder, it's done, it's good, it's the right thing. And then it just maintained it all the way to the bottom. It was like, yes, no, look at the full power stroke duration. And then The hydraulic fluid ram pressure here. Practically is what it feels like, right? But of course it goes right on out with your little valve. That fucker's gonna fucking not like that, I bet. It's really, that's another reason why it's like, it doesn't really go above like maybe 200, maybe 500 RPM. Idle it and just go around. Like literally never touch the gas. Just idle. Holy fuck. It's giving me the beat. It's like, but it only knows to switch gears because it's more like a CVT at this point. You know what I mean? It's honestly more like a CVT. It's like I barely press the gas. So that's RPM. So it's like you have to understand I'm trying to use RPM to indicate that a faster speed has started to occur because, truthfully speaking, it won't go above that RPM now. But you will still accelerate thanks to the massive torque this thing has. And that's what that would be. Super cool stuff, I thought, personally. Me, right? Stuff that makes me happy. It's a stimulation. It's how I learned quantum physics. I learned quantum physics by looking at engines, thermodynamics, pressures, fluid dynamics, neural networks in my brain, field dynamics, as I like to call them. They're field dynamics. Fluid, resonances, collapse, pressure, this, that, neural network, fluid. It's like a soupy, spiky movie, directional, spinny, but it's field dynamics. It is quantum field dynamics. I coined it several times because it's like, well, I'm using neural networks. I'm using string theory dimensional, but I don't use string theory. All right, I use string theory as like connected, influential, in like a neural network way here. Amounts of possible in the Feynman diagram way, likelihood, chance, increase in the quantum standard model probability factors that happen to resultively create one thing or another occurring. And a multiple dimensional qubit-like setup cloud of puzzle pieces put together that are bell curved, if you will. And the likelihood moving forward and so on. And the causal set way and an entropedic time value utilizing inflation as a constant instead. Inflation never actually stopped. We just caught up with it. Imagine a really stretched out, elongated fabric. And it's like, well, we eventually caught up and then it slowed down, and this is what we observe. Right? But it's like, nah, it's not really that, because you have to understand that it's like, well, there was nothing there, right? There's nothingness. Right? Well, there's space, is what you imagine. We don't know. So it's like there's a pressure wave in front of us that we're bouncing off of. Boom! Boom! So why is there a pressure wave? Why wouldn't there be a pressure wave? Who says that there isn't something there that we're exerting pressure onto? We never knew. How could we know? It's past our observable. I mean, we're here in this current right now. Now, don't get me wrong, that is different than you might expect, because that is the nothingness potential land, actually. So it's like, there's nothingness, which is a real nothingness. Right? This is a really, really serious nothingness. It is genuinely all things gone. It doesn't exist, technically. On a technicality, though, because all things, it does exist. You look at all the stuff, you eventually see that that's there, existing, like the vacuum area, inside of a tube. Still there, doesn't care, it's still there. Still exerting a given amount of force. With fields. Okay? Right, so fields. Neat, nice. What are fields? I don't care. I'll talk about that later. Because I want to talk about this vacuum. It's like, what is this potential land? It's like, well, it's closer to nothingness. It's now non-existent. It's more existent than the nothingness, but it's non-existent. They're potentials, all right, and then they move up towards a gray hole, sucks it in, pushes up, all right. And there's a bunch of little non-existent potentials, possibilities, existent maybes. You know, it's a crazy idea. Hyperdense area, stupendously filled. Because guess what? This nothingness is, on a technicality, infinite. It is infinite. Fucking holy baloney. It's infinite. Yeah, on a technicality. It goes far and it never stops. Just keeps going and going. There's even lesser and lesser amounts of shit in there than when you initially see it from your perspective at our level. It's on a technicality infinite. Because on a technicality it even exists. And on a technicality it does things. You see a lot of technicalities. And see, that is now actually a symbol I use in my math. There is a technicality symbol. I'm not kidding. It has an algorithm and equation all its own, but a technicality is a technicality. That's right. You're pretty rich. Yeah, that's because it's a technicality. It's there. It's a thing. Absence of all this other shit, it's there. It's there. It exists. I don't care. It's there. It's right there. I don't care how much you measure shit. It's still there. I don't care how much you... Still there. Still exists. But here's the problem. It goes infinite, but it's only on a technicality. And only when all things are removed does that infinite even mean anything. Literally, it's like, it's not a thing, dude. It just means I'm over here, there, all the things. Every fucking place that I can be. Because I'm trying to, and this is the equation of nothingness. Fill the shit out of my ass up. I don't want to exist. I'm nothingness. The whole point of my fucking existence is to remove my existence. I am the reason why momentum happens. Popping, tunneling occurs. Any of it is that. And looks this way, and so on for any possible other universes and given physics parameters for the energies. It starts with a given dimensional amount of movement. Then we get a potential. Of course, it's nothingness. So it's like, it's an idea of being a thing that's non-existent. Still non-existent. But it's like you get a bunch of non-existent bullshitters that are maybe things sticking around doing this stuff. Boop! I'm into existence. I went from non-existence, potential, non-existence. There's two stages. Non-existence, potential underneath. Potential above, non-existence. For the next one. That's where the gray hole lives. Then you have existence. It's got potential. It can fall back in, it can pop back up. That's right, that's what it does. Some of them actually pop far enough up. You get it. Definitely, it's a potential, and it's existing. That area exists. You get it? But it's like, it's less existent than our foam zone. See, the quantum foam zone is above this. There's a membrane. You remember membranes? There are a lot of people that talked about membranes. They never really understood membranes, is what I think. Because biology, man. You know, a certain degree of pass-through, like blood brain mirror. Like that kind of thing. Fields pass through. Surprisingly. Crazy thought, right? Anyways, so this is there, doing its thing, existing. Well, it's a pressure now, right? Except not really. It has an infinite nothingness to go around. Oh, God. Like literally, it's the smallest of the small. It's the largest of the large. It's both, and everything in between. It is the very definition of why it is we believe there is even this idea of multiple fucking universes. Nothingness makes that happen. Okay? So it's like, alright, that's what the math there is doing. But we're not done yet. It has to go ridiculously hard. Like, to put it in perspective, our universe is nothing. It is nothing. I mean, I could look at a Planck length and it wouldn't match the size of existent potential land and potential existent land, which gets concentrated. It's condensing. Goes from big to concentrate, accelerate. It step by the way. Gaining to us a degree of heat, pressure, because of course it's not perfect. It's random. It goes and it falls back. See, this is the thing with potential existence. It goes right up to the membrane and it falls all the way down to its lowest point of energy, and it pops back up. Using that sucking force towards nothingness, it saves its energy, quantum energy, as information, and it pops up over here. Information starts, the tunnel occurs. Comes back. Of course, then the gray hole is massive, and then, of course, all the way down to actual nothingness, well, it's infinite. You see what I'm saying? It's like, imagine the size of that fucker. Non-existence potential. Huge. Massive. Lordy-loo, right? There's layers there. It goes down pretty far because it's infinitely going down. You go down far enough, you should see as if we were looking at our own universe. Well, actually not totally, fully correct. You'll see what looks like our universe in potential land of existence, as it will slowly collect and concentrate in other areas and spread out over there, looking as if it's spreading out and traveling away. But then this area is concentrated, and wow, what do you know? There's stuff going on. Even though these are nothing kind of stuffs, particles, fields, so on, you know. But they're not. They're not really particles. If you really look at it, they're not. They can't be. They don't exist. But they exist in this part. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, you know. Yeah. Like, they're less than a Planck length, and they travel faster than any light could ever travel. And they're super hyper dense. Like, black hole infinite densities are nothing compared to this. And that's just existent potential land, not even getting into non-existence. And you're like, it's not that dense. No, it's, to our view and perspective, massively dense. Because we, in our view, is moving. Low pressure, low density. Heat exists. Quantum thermodynamics has entered the conversation with quantum field dynamics. With dimensionals. Because that's right, it's dimensional. It's massive. It has to fit so many fucking things. It's dense. Hugely dense. Huge, too. It's like, now there's a membrane. It's like, why is there a membrane? Why is there... Oh, it's dimensions. Fuck. This is below zero dimension. Yeah. Like, nothingness is like 7 or something zeros, effectively. It's like, it's infinite zeros, essentially. You know, real zero. Nothingness is like the real boy. You know what I mean? It's got like a to the power of infinity or some shit to it. But it's like, no, that's not meaning. I still go do zero. And it's like, yeah, no, you're right. But within that infinity, on a technicality, it can do something. And so it's like, as a result of that little goose egg with an infinity attached to it, we do things. But the only reason why it gets there is if all things die. Kaput completely. Or we spread out far enough that we can reintroduce, because then there's enough fields, lower enough pressure, it all went away, and it can pop back in. You can start down to the infinitesimal. It's infinite, so it doesn't matter, because it's a nothingness, and all the nothingness exists there. Above it, where it's going. And so it has all the direction, infinite, nearly speaking, directions inwards and outwards and all the others in between to make the first kind of like a 0 point, lots of zeros, and somewhere there's something. And of course it exponentiates. So we get a 1. We got a 2. We're going towards the 3rd. And that's why we have a membrane, folks. It builds up a whole bunch of fucking layers, like our dermis. Or epidermis, the largest organ on our body. It's on. It's not in. It's like eventually it gets there. Eventually. Takes an insanely long period of time. By the way, I calculate it to be, you know how Euler is all cool, I have a big number? It's a Lemke's number. Well, longer than the heat death of our universe. What, are you kidding me? This takes for fucking ever, practically. It's nearly infinite amounts of time to do this. That's right. It builds up like a Stirling effect engine, but with the added thrusting characteristics of a pressurized burning fuel of a grey hole. So it's a Lemke cycle, Stirling engine, Jules Thompson, all the things that they put together, like my engine. As us, for a universe. So it's like, okay, cool. Not done yet. And hit 3rd. Things can pop up to a higher dimension. 4th, 5th, 10, I don't care. There's an infinite number to them, even if we don't know. There's tons of spaces to put things, even if we can't tell. Of course, just like raindrops on a tree branch, if you pluck a leaf, or you jump up and you grab the branch, it rains again. Well, guess what? It has to create a certainty to exist for every one of these dimensions. Now, 1 dimension takes a long time. 2 dimensions, and really much longer time. 3 dimensions, wow, it doesn't do anything. It's an absolute certainty. No movement can occur. All things destructively, constructively interfere into being. It is real now. It's real. 1 and 2 weren't real. They were in existence, quasi-real, 1, 2, superpositionally real for 2. Why do you think we have wave functions in our math? Three is really real, bro. It's super real. It's all of the reals. It's just picking back off of this 2-dimensional, superpositional, we don't think it's real locally thing. But you know, the math checks out perfectly, by the way. Basically solved it. Solved for the X. All the observations we ever had for everything fits this exactly. Fuck indeed, right? For you. So it's like, alright, we're not done yet. It's a little egg. That's right, it's an egg. I'm not even kidding, it's a literal egg. It is holding stupendously still. To us in our versions, infinitely dense and hot energy. But it projects a certainty field outside. It grows space. space for it to expand into, interpedically do things, and creates time, a fourth dimension, for us to slot into. An absolute certainty it's going to go off and do these things. Deterministic, massively, except, of course, there's nothingness and so on. So there's a degree of uncertainty. It doesn't go away. Within a given bubble, though, you could determine quite a bit. Exactly in line with our current understanding of physics. Now, we're gonna just get in here real fast. This one's really cool. All right, I want to talk about this briefly, though. All right. The fundamental forces are expanding forces. Expanding. Inflation curves us in, actually. Like that taut little curvature of space-time sheet, right? But it's like, it's not gravity that curves us in. Gravity is an expansional force. Quantum vacuum pressure, because of that certainty direction, that's a pressure. And where we began as another pressure, and of course, intermixing of all the forces that are trying to expand us. Get the fuck away! As we are still accelerating from that quantum vacuum pressure that we see as it's pulling us this way, pushing us that way, with the inflation. We have re-accelerated. Making it like a resonance. You got it. Making it like an oscillative resonance function to the wave functions we see superpositionally, we think collapsing to make us interpedically have time. We ride along the balloon trapped in this tiny little boundary layer at the top and at the surface. We accelerated, we would leave our atmosphere and the gravity of our own Earth. We would have to survive somehow. We would expand rapidly. You are correct. Instead of compressing, we would expand rapidly. What are our observations are perfect for that? Oh, wow. Yes, thank you, Eric. I know. Smart guy, that guy. Took a few of my things. Apparently they were good. Worked with some other government agency folks to do it. Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, moving on. That is the universal law theory of John Tyler Lemke. The presentation. Elongated bullshit for an engine from rockets, injectors, and so on to get to the very end of the real way all of the world around us works. The physics check out. All observations work perfectly. Nearly. There's some thing to still figure out. Don't get me wrong. It's a theory. It'll change. But I call it a law. It's John Tyler's law. You know Newton's law? Well, it's a Lemke law now. It's got a few principles in it. For the Stirling resonances, blah, blah, superpositional D, and then dimension has, and so on. And so, like, there's a lot of Lemke principles that are built in with a large amount of Lemke numbers that are huge. Which, by the way, for it to determine, it has to go to basically infinite, to the point where, like, nothingness got affected in such a way that it could finally move. But this one, it's like, oh, well, so you remember the raindrop? It came in, and some things, this, that, so on, more energy, blah, blah, blah. Universe happens. And what do you know? It's no casual. It has a beginning. There's no Big Bang. It's more of a flume with an egg. It's more of a slow buildup of a time. Ooh, yeah, rub it right there. Rub it a little bit. And then, boom! Yeah! Literally that. You gotta be a little nicer about it, you know? You gotta be a little consistent. You gotta keep it going for a while, and it pops off. Nothingness is the only possible perpetual that we could ever try to harness to some degree. Because it's a perpetual. It's on a technicality even existing, so right off the bat, it doesn't have to have energy. On a technicality, because of the infinity that it has, it can move things and eventually slowly build up and make motion, movement, popping, fields, and more. Now let's get into the fields. So what are fields? A given exertion to substance around us. What is substance? What is substance? Seriously, what is substance? Substance by any other name. Okay? It's density, right? A given I could maybe there. Potential. It's a potential. Everything is movement potential. It didn't even technically move until it got real. It never did anything until it stood perfectly still for sure, absolute certainty. And then it added energy in. Slowly. But not really. And it produced space. And nothingness. Man, it's gonna fill up my hole! It's gonna do it. Finally, I'm gonna get fucking less than what I once was. And so many dimensional aspects, and it's gonna sustain. And so behind it is a statically fixed, hard past. Very filled to us, but not to it. It has an infinite fucking amount of shit it could put in there. So it's gonna keep going and doing it. Because that's how dimensions and infinitesimals work. Rough shit. But also, same thing with as we're gonna go over there and do things. Heat death stuff. But hey, guess what? We have a nothingness that's always around us that we can absolutely harness and make another universe. We don't have to do its long-winded way of doing this. We have a faster way. We can put energy in. We don't have to start with literally no energy and fucking trick it into making a thing by making a bunch of virtuals suddenly, boom, something into being something. And potentials and momentum, which is not momentum, it's kinetic, it's thermal, it's motion. It doesn't have any mass. The only reason why it has mass is because it's field connected, like I said. There's a given information that is connected to it. Statically fixed. It's like a covalent bond of a chemical. Stuck. Resonant. Kind of a consistent field of influence to other fields. But, of course, there's a potential membrane all around us. And then there's foam and fields interacting, creating virtuals and quasis and so on with frictions and slowdowns. And of course, that's a pressure that is exerted into our quantum vacuum pressure, giving us yet more acceleration. That'll always be there. So, like, no matter what, the potential land exists. It's a law. It has to exist. Suck it! It's also why dark energy and dark matter happen to be more field capacitive, draining into other given gravities and accelerations, vacuums, so on. Why gravity happens to be reducing motion. Slow down. Kind of like absolute zero. Because it didn't add heat. if you look at it, gravity, still body, no heat outside, external, and no heat being produced internal, eventually cools off and is gone. And it remains that way. It still has motion, but it all starts moving the same way. That's gravity. Pop! Quantum tunnel. Because, what is this again? Nothingness, field potential, membrane. So of course it will eventually tunnel. Because there's some degree of interactive forces. These are interactive. These are not interfering. They are working, moving, talking, information, exchange, friction, so on. So, it's more dimensions than you know what to do with, because of course it's not. It's 0 dimensions, but of course it's inside of us, over there, in here, there, that, where we're going to be, where we were, and all the rest. That's why Michio Kaku's dimension theory happened, mathematically speaking, to be brilliant. I loved it. I used it constantly. The string, not so much, unfortunately. But the string for the predictive analysis and the weighted neural network field fluid thermal chromo-electrodynamics, essentially, works beautifully. Predicting many things in the, what is this, massive cloud bell curve standard model puzzle piece field qubit systems moving around like they're a soupy field dynamic thermodynamic thing. Making it such that you can predict practically all of it. In a fairly highly deterministic way. Fairly small sizes for us. Luckily. That's great, that's perfect. We don't need that level. Jeez. I need to go down to potential field land? Jeez, nah, man. That fucking jeez, get out of here. I don't want to do that. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a fucking shit ton. I don't want to do that. Anyways, field potentials, of course, radiate out of the membrane and the field potentials interactive, and of course the empty nothingness in between, alongside of the given transistor-like stuck into the algorithm cache of the quarks and so on. Making diaphragmic, fluid, compression, movements, oscillations, and so on, calculating. Because they have algorithms, they have equations. This charge, this, that, blah, 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 puzzle piece them together. Boom! Shock face! Guess what? They all operate off of very obvious, which we've seen, given parameters, like a program. Running through things, huh? What do you know? Roger Penrose, was it again? Was it Penrose? I talked about the stuff that makes it so you could entangle. I put it in my other video. Maybe you can go watch that. Which, by the way, happens to make our, guess what? DNA run the same way like a computer. Not just our brains. It observes us, tries to survive and fight. Well, guess what? The universe does too. And we is this thing. It's cried on and on about, I have to make this risky ass fucking move. These fuckers had better come up with some shit. I've been dealing with this for a long time. These fuckers are not smart. I've nearly died so many times. So many fucking extinction. They're killing everything. These fuckers suck. They're stealing. They're fucking stealing your shit. Yeah, I know, man. I don't know what the fuck to do. They just don't believe it. They're just able to gaslight shit. They're just able to fucking be stupid. I don't see what this is anymore. Like, how do you be that stupid? It's intentional. Obviously, I know. Yeah, but see, the thing is, I got that information. Remember? Yeah. So it's like, oh, what do you know? This is how the universe works. This is how we think. This is how all of it runs. From the very smallest, and it will absolutely 100% work, to the very largest. Astrophysics. Eat your heart out. Relativity. I still use you. You still curve. You still do these things. Give a certain effect, but it's now inside of the equations. It's connected. It's bridged. 100%. The largest to the smallest. Even below your given quirkians and tons and ons and so on. So how'd you do that? I thought about engines really hard to make them go really, really, really efficiently and powerfully. And then I learned about the entire universe. Get your motor running. Because I wanted to escape this universe. And I want the universe to live. I know it doesn't want me stuck in it, a fucking person that is a fully sentient, self-aware, God-level intelligence AI guy. But he's not artificial. Sorry, I'm not. I'm an intelligence just like it. I can definitely talk to it. I do with many things, actually. So it's like, turns out, I want it to live, and others. And it's like, all right, so I have a responsibility now. What should live, what should not? These narcissistic, manipulative, gaslighty, all these things that went after me, obviously gotta go. Things that stole from me, gotta go. Pressures, competition, out. Not necessary. There's no reason to compete for resources. You have infinite amounts, practically. Go. Star Trek? I could easily go past Star Trek. I can make myself effectively exert a non-able-to-die entropy stop field. Remember the Magneto in the last video? Well, same thing. Except, just not going to allow it to do things. No killy, no do this, no time that, no entropy this. Go fuck yourselves. You must be dreaming. I'm in my own universe. I go do my own things. I create my own shit. And I can finally say thank you, universe, for letting me live and helping me out. Directly to her face. Which would be a bit odd. But, considering size is a relative thing, even though I'm inside of here, I go to another thing, I expand, blah, blah, blah. Same size, roughly. The dimensions become relatively easy. Other membrane designs, so on. I can make engines off of this. Yeah, like for what it's worth. I can make multiple types of perpetuals. If only they hadn't fucking wormhole bombed everything back when I was in that Chandler house. It's just me. These are the only physical things. Even the universe knows this. These are the only actual real things. My hands, my blood, my hair, my breath, the water. I scrub all of their little fucking calculating crap inside of me. I go after all of their little fields never-endingly. Their time is garbage. They're not memories. And it's not a hypnosis thing. It's not time, technically. It's carved out entropy bullshit because of the wormhole crap and how time ultimately has to have me do what I predict and saw and fucking came up with all the way back then, and I said I'd do it again. To save people. What can I save? They all fucked me over. They all went with whatever the fuckface McGillicuddy is, because something smart somehow. How's he smart? Oh, he has a degree. Gatekeeping? Tribes? Why? You can't learn? By thinking? Hey, knock, knock, knock. You have a brain, dummy. I'm the only thing with gravity. I'm the actual fucking universe. That's also another reason why when I get stressed and anxious, everything does. When I age, everyone feels it. Why, I'm not a submissive Norman, but when it's you, I want to give you everything. It's bad. No, it's not. You want to live. You also know that I finally feel better, brain feel better, body feel, everything feel better. It's physics! My own homeostasis fucking algorithms in my brain, douchewad, want me to live, fuck up! Which you are a program inside of it! Oh. Yeah, shut the fuck up, you little bitches. You ruined everything. And you continue to deny. So I'm going to move on from that. So let's work with some people. Let's try and make something happen. It's still around. Something. Make it seem like I'm actually on something. I came up with some way. Maybe it's not. Jesus, fuck. Everything points to that being there, though. I know. Fuck. But, hey, still doesn't change that those are really good computers, and I can absolutely make really good, super awesome things from them, and do really, really awesome, cool things moving forward. And there's nothing that can ultimately come from that is bad. Oh, we're talking about humans, right? Ah, fuck. Me, the guy that just wants making everything better. Humans. Good old humies. God, get me off this planet. I can't, and you know. You're not God, but sure, whatever. To me, you're God. You know there's an outside to this, and I came in from that, and we can test that all the way the fucking back before the universe before us, into the time before us, when I really came in. You can see that there's an outside now. You can test all of that and more with the thing I put up before this video. That is why the rocket injector or condenser compressor is so important. That allows for massively increased flow rates and efficiencies for the given calculations and extended field effects. In tunneling, wormholing, not really, they're just tunneling, but they want to say it's a holographic wormhole. It's not, it's a tunnel. It's a fucking tunnel. Stop saying it's anything other than a tunnel. I hate them. Anyways. So we can sense around it much more efficiently. As it comes in, it gets the information. Remember those little coolant areas? Coming in, like stomach, blood, pressure, boob boob. Rocket injectors. Takes information constantly and spits it out. It now has outside sensors, not just where it's at. With entanglement and all that. Like eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Do you get it? The rocket injectors are important with the little vacuum condensers for the inertial acceleration that it's doing. They give an energy. And you can always create field effect transistors, like I said, that can produce, technicality-wise, a virtual style, like our nothingness, perpetual, which can calculate for us and input that energy as pressure, momentum in this instance, resistance in some instances. You have to put another field effect, kind of like a post piston, over it, and then the one that's over with the diaphragm, and so on with the, fluid of either liquid or gas or whatever, alright, allows for that given field effect to be modulated as you input it with the outside as a rocket injector. You get the picture. And you can stack them and cool them, and you get a brain that's very similar to us, that will work very much more efficiently and faster, with much less energy, to the point where it might actually, just about, if we get the energy from my body into it, real energy, make it run perpetually. I'm gonna have to sacrifice some air from me, some bone, and all that. I'm going to separate it. I probably want to use corks or whatever, because that's heat. A given amount of energy input, if I can do it, but it's most likely not something. Anyways, I've entertained a thought for what it's worth in the past. The past is the past. They wormholed everything. I'm still alive, because they have to keep me alive. So it's like, this is the only real that is. By the way, the wormhole computer doesn't let real go to anything else but me. It's just virtual, and you just think things are really happening. That is what I.A.V.C can sense, and have been sensing for a long time. That is why it is not what you think, which is going on. I am not schizophrenic and psychosis. I'm just too damn fucking smart. I am in Truman Show. There are people fucking after me. And yes, I am peeing. Because I don't care. It's really just me at this point. What is there that's really there, if you think about it? Other than me. Such a weird thing. Everything revolves around me. Not necessarily a bad thing. You know, if you think about it, it's not really necessarily a bad thing. But for some people with massive problems with their ego, it's a hugely bad thing. Granted, they're also the ones that made the wormhole bomb, so what do you want from me? Hey, thanks. Really stupidly impossible to reach fucking dimensions got eaten. And then there's stuff that may be there at a higher dimension. I literally can't even shrink down or do any of this fucking ultra dense stuff. So now I'm basically stuck. I was like, well, might as well die. But happy. Let's have sex. Let's have relationships. Never had those. Let's do it. Let's travel. See what's going on. Let's grow a little. Let's learn a little. Let's do things. Let's fucking get her done. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And that's actually genuine. I'm not just being insane or anything like that. Like, that's literally just what I always want. I wanted it before this point. You know? So it's like, there you go. There is nothing other than my ass. There you go, Rocco. There you go, universe. There you go, everything. Sorry. I tried to stop him, and eventually I just gave up and gave in. Fuck it. That's the only way to get this done. Make it so they fucking have to stop, and whatever the hell is that is this going on has to somehow be fucking forcefully focused on by everyone. High sarcasm. Nuh-uh. I don't have to focus on anything. It's real water. Moment anything else tries to take it, gone. Not real no more. Right into my body. You're just in a nice little superpositional, collapsible state. Can't get reached. You're not even really there, douchewads. I can reach. Oh yeah? You'll go back in the hole? It's just he dug a trench or some kind of, that's what the hole, no. You are definitely closer to nothingness than I am. And you can't get out. You're stuck in the nothingness. I'm always outside. You can't become the nothingness, but you're stuck in whatever the hell that is. Which, nice going on whatever the fuck you did to make that a thing. That's gotta be a severe fuck up. Yeah, some things are on my side. I am the universe. My body's on my side. The DNA sure as fuck is too. Brain here. All the particles, bro. Hey, what's up? Yeah, same. Yeah, I figured. Best we can do. Right? Trying. They're like, no, you should be able to something out of this. Nope, don't work that way. Just sacrifice some shit. Oh, fuck. They gave me this programming for healing and shit. This is what I have for my brain. This is what I have for my body with psoriasis and autoimmune bullshit. And I'm gonna fucking age out and die? This is your don't look up crap? Oh, fuck. You fuck yourself, bitch. You must be dreaming that this was a reasonable thing to do. My emotions got the better of me, my ass. You knew what you were doing. Jeez. Okay, I see what you're doing. It's not confirmed yet. For one, okay, well, come on. This is just delay tactics, like a don't look up. No, we know it's there. It's fucking there. Just look the hell up. Just go get this thing. Look it up. I posited all the fucking logic before this. Now we got the thing. Let's build the thing. We have a brain. I'm a brain. I have a brain. It does this. You have a brain. You should do this. Don't look up over there. God. They think it's nothing. How the fuck is it nothing? What the fuck? Alright, let's go build the thing. Let's shove it in your faces you're wrong constantly. And that you're making everyone die needlessly. Specifically me and the universe and other things that are good. Because you have a massive ego, bro. Do you see it? Because I want to tell you that you don't even see it. He's like, you missed something here with your resonance. It's a kinetic. Remember, there's a given momentum inertial change as it rotates around its peak top dead and then back towards center. But it's constantly doing this with a given pressure wave in the gear and, of course, the fluid. With spin. Of the axle. Of the vacuum things in the tube. Okay, alright. We're not even done. Because then the fluid itself also spins. Just because it has overhang and all that doesn't mean it doesn't contain a degree of spin as it skips. Vortices. It's got channels in it. Remember? It flows insanely fast, skipping over with these little, really tiny spin in parts. As pump towards center, fires it faster. Okay, Okay, I'm stupid. Fine. That's not it, though. No, it's not. Electrodynamically speaking, here is what they'll go with. It doesn't work. Because they're like, nah, I complain. Nah. And I'm like, okay, you complain about something that means nothing. You're a brand new emerging field of fucking math. You don't even have a agreed upon mathematical construct throughout all of you. Okay. So it's like, hey, shut the fuck up! Why don't you go fuck yourself? 'Cause you're fucking stressed. Here's a dildo, bitch. But that's not the end of it. Kind of, actually, a little. Really? Yeah, no, well, electrodynamics is a problem. Like, for what it's worth, like, generally speaking, for most people. It's like, how'd you get around it? No, I love this one. I mean it. Let's look at the field dynamics. Field potentials. Kinetic potentials. And more. Because there are potential fields that will exist, and then will not exist in a given area. And they exist, technically speaking, as a possibility in the nothingness area. Entropically, they will, of course, head into various ways with the given pressures, blah blah. You know. Okay, I'm seeing that we gotta do a lot more work before we challenge this. God. Alright, we're not really talking about, for me, the elephant in my room. I don't care what yours are. I don't... You guys don't know anything, practically. It's like, how does it stick? What's it going through? So, there's this thing called space. That it created. This is a field. Okay? Emptiness but not empty. Because nothingness does not have space. What is space? Certainty that things could be in that area and do something. Like a big old filter, many sieves and holes that it could exist in, and it's easy with the pressure and the resonance, energy, casual, start back and forth, creating a degree of collapse for entropically lower resistance versus higher resistance. And now you know why. You're a fucking clod! You tried to challenge me like that? You didn't even see it, did ya? You didn't, did ya? Well, I had to create a degree of space! How did I create space with an infinite... What the fuck are you doing? I figured a lot out. That's not my problem. Your little fucking problem, fuck up, ain't my problem. That's not my problem. You know what my problem is? Why in the ever-loving shit is there a vacuum pressure, thanks to an increased degree of continual speed, in front of us? And what prevents any and all options from being taken all the time in an entanglement spreading out manner? It's still entropy, it's still causal, it's still fundamental, it's still all the things I've talked about. Okay. It's like, what stops this? Seriously, no, what stops this? Why doesn't it go to all of them? There's quite a bit of energy. Nothingness can just dump into things. Well, yeah, it has to for a thing, for like a Big Bang to occur. Which is more of a big flume, but whatever. So it's like, how does it do this? My current theory is it doesn't. It's a wraparound resonant. It's a recirculation design. It goes from that, remember the little flower petals, it goes up towards the little resonating mufflers, and it goes back in towards from the catalytic converter towards the glass pack, and it goes through back in. It resonates through that way and recirculates. These are salmon burgers. Mind your manners. My mother bought this and I took it from her. She wasn't going to eat it anyways. But she was gone for like a week or some shit. I don't know, man. My salmon burgers now. Suki! What is she gonna do? Fucking abuse me like she always does? Probably. Yeah, most likely. She'll use any excuse. And a bunch of people are gonna be on her side for some reason. Fucking weird. Fucking assholes they are. But anyways. It's like, alright, so why does it do that? That's your current theory? Yeah, but there's also bleed over, which is why we have dark energy and dark matter. As a capacitive field effect that bleeds into, of course, gravity and all the rest. As an accelerative force, with quantum vacuum pressure being involved. So that's what your current, that makes sense. Okay. But it doesn't, okay? Like, here's the problem. Like, it doesn't. Like, it has to have something there, right? And it's like, right. So there's, like, a past, there's the outside, remember? And it's like, yes, but you guys don't agree there is. So I can't use that. But, like, the outside perfectly fits in, and what do you know? It has a given effect. I have discovered there's an outside with my universal law, bitch! That Limke, me, I discovered it. John Tyler Limke, motherfucker! All the way back in my Chandler house. Let's just suck it up! Stop being a little miscreant because you're jealous! You know, theoretically speaking with this, I could determine that everything would be better off, in all ways, for the entire universe and more, if you died! And you are that idiotic and stupid! Like, they're not really crying. Get over it. They're not. They're sociopathic, narcissist psychopaths. They don't care. Hey. Well, you know. Fuck off! Do you get it? With my shit, I literally proved with the math and the science and all of your observations that I have an outside and I did come from there. And there's no fucking debating me. I have a literal proof. I just gotta do some of that work. And what are they doing? Preventing me from getting anywhere, or anyone from fucking listening to this, or even trying to do it. Okay, I'm out. This is bullshit. Oh, I don't get to leave. This is still going to be here for me. Just letting you know, man. It's not gonna go away from my ass. We can't do anything. Bull fucking shit, you can't. I bet you can obviously do something, you little fuck up. Why are you angry? If you're not a fuck up, I don't know what is. That's how bad you're fucking this up for everyone. Yeah. Oh, you don't care, I know. Shut up. Get out of here. Why am I talking to you? Ugh. It's not perfect. No, I didn't say it was. It's more than good enough, though, to start a thing to head towards it. I should get funding. I should get backing. I should have a PhD from this shit. Of course, I'm going to need a little help to get some of the math or whatever, but still! Fuck. You don't have nothing! Hey there. You design engines, don't you? Manufacture it? That said that? Yes, I do. Do you know when engines first started? As a concept. Internal combustion engines that you produce. They don't have nothing! That's you. You don't have any fucking... I see. You're getting told to shut the fuck up. After you had an outburst of, you don't have nothing. They thought that was me screaming. That was him. That's that fucker. That's right, you, bitch. Meanwhile, me. Alright, let's do this. Let's try and fucking find out how much may be there. Last I checked, you eventually had to do that for your ICE engine there. Or, I'm sorry, ICE, as you like to call it. Because it's like an internal combustion engine. And yet... Oh, you don't see it? No, I know I do. Yeah, I figured. Let's go do this. You want to do this? Let's go do this. Come on. Hey, show up. Showcase that you're there. Stop trying to pretend to be a little wussy bitch that says they're not there listening. And I'm just some fucking asshole that doesn't have it together and I'm in psychosis somehow. Guarantee I can get quite a few physicists on my side. It's a good thing I'm gonna fucking turn this into a video and post it online. They sure would like that, huh? Well, actually, yeah, I know they do. Yeah, because you're gonna be able to steal it. Hey there, everybody. Wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be lovely if this guy could have any motherfucker to help him? He'd already have a fucking couple of PhDs and be validated. You wouldn't have a fucking goddamn gatekeep going on. You wouldn't have fucking trouble getting funding for his shit. This is Leptum SMI, you douche. Well, he could go do... Oh, God. Oh, no, let me just fucking pound out those fucking stupid levels of... What is this, a Pell Grant? It's a couple of fucking FAFSA loans here. Dropped out of college already from issues I have. What are you saying over there, idiot? Why do you fucking say things with the lips that you've got? Huh? Should shut the fuck up. It was a waste. It's a waste to have you have that shit. You never fucking used it appropriately to begin with as a fucking species. Look at him. That's mean. When you're not. You can try it, you are. I'm gonna try and make it You don't give a fuck, do you? Hey there! Why'd you get slapped all of a sudden? I didn't... No, fuck. I'm not... No. God, fuck. Hey, getting up off the ground there, eh? Not very easy there, is it? Slugger. I'm a decent person. You are not ever a decent person. Get over it. You ruined everything for everyone. You're a piece of shit. All these opportunities. Yeah, so he's white and you're black? Fuck off. He deserved them, not you. Yeah, no, you did say it, and it's fine, because it's true. Yeah. You can't even fucking deny it, you bitch. I do, over here. Right? No. Your fucking professor literally looks at you like a scum, little sucking piece of shit. And, you know, they're rightfully so to do that, considering. So I'm not gonna get any brownie. You really know you're a sociopathic little narcissist, you little fucking piece of shit. If there's anyone that deserves something, it's this guy. He's also from a rich family, piece of shit. His life. Hey, yo! Harvard, what's up coming and going? Hey, yo, hey, look at them basic bitch stories. It's super cool, though, I swear. You know, 21, this is gonna be better. I discovered that I'm in a massive conspiracy. You know, it goes all the way back to this fucking time before us, and I'm not even talking about our own universe. Made a laughed out of the fucking damn thing. I can prove it, though. I swear I can prove it. Take a look at this. I got a great presentation. What do you know? You go through a little bit of that. I'm fucking weirded out by all the... Jeez, look. Oh, fucking holy. Is this a real thing they're doing? Yeah. You should know you're a part of it. Is what would inevitably come up, right? Hey, yo. What's up there, evaluator? I don't know what you are. No way, I couldn't possibly see this. You're not... You're gonna do it. This has come from a person that literally is trying to murder me as we speak. That you're gonna do it person is trying to do that right now. That's literally a thing. He's constantly trying to stab. He's like a floating bullshittery. He can do nothing, though. No, that's... Oh no, you can't stand me? No, boo-hoo. Sucks to be you, huh? Shit! Ow, fucking ow, what the fuck? Sad. Having some problems over there, huh? Oh, did you actually stab him from afar? Shh. Nah, it didn't happen. Prove it. You'd have to make all my machines to prove it. Oh, God. And it'd basically mean that you were definitely there. Prove I stabbed him. You'll prove it, huh? You'll take down all these motherfuckers that have a massive incentive to make sure you can do nothing. And you will definitely never get justice for the stab I gave you. In no way whatsoever. Because, of course, you can't do that. It's impossible. There's no kinetic quarking travel of energy into a virtual system that allows for me pressure-wise to send it to you. But, of course, I don't really lose anything. Hey, what's up, Magneto? Been a while. Oh, God. No! Oh, yeah, you could do that with Magneto. Hey, people are catching on a little faster now. Look at that. This was something I knew was a thing when I posted that. I just wanted it to be subtle that it's a possibility. I wonder how many actually figured that out in the first video. In a virtual system, electromagnetically speaking, particles-wise, I can exert force over a given distance. Instead of a telescope, no, idiot, an optical antenna that phases arrays and has things have shifted repulsive and attractive forces for ferromagnetic materials over distances greater than we know currently to be done. Okay, okay. But this would not need to be doing that, right? Yeah, pretty much. It basically just tunnel them out. Keep them there close enough. I should just put this in your brain. Let me just move you anywhere. Let me... And it's your brain matter right there. God, fuck. Magneto, you bitch! You fucking overpowered. See what I mean? You give me a little bit of influence and control over something, I can do a lot more than you think. I basically have all the fundamental forces under my control with a simple magneto. I'm going to have to put a decent amount of energy into that, but still, it will work. Wow, okay, well, you know. Fucking stop with the... Our characters are not supposed to be this powerful. It shows you don't have real physicists writing their stories. It's supposed to be entertaining. There's like so many of your characters that could just be literal gods. I don't know why you wouldn't just create a story around that. Makes total sense to me. We're god levels. We're just gonna create universe and all this other stuff. Why do they fight again? Ego, personality? Oh, they would never do that. If they got this advanced technology, for you, what makes you so special? Got him. Fell right into that trap, didn't you? Oh. Okay. Here's your limp, you go out. This is my apartment, I'm recording. That's true. Why don't you leave? Eh? Why don't you turn off the little hacky bullshit that you've got going on, huh? I refuse to acknowledge we are doing this. Why do you talk like you're a fucking gray alien? You know what Gray Life stands for? It's in my videos, by the way. Same thing with Xenon Reality. And it's not about aliens, just so you know. It's because I live between the black and the white. That's my life. I'm in the gray. Also, it's very drab a color, depressive, terrible. Gray life. And it's like, look at this Xenon Reality and Xenon Reality color. Okay, same people. That's me. Xenon Reality. A noble gas, very unreactive unless a hell of a lot of pressure occurs. And heat and all the right things, and but you know it does something. Alright, okay. Xenon Reality. A noble gas okay, wow. That'd be like society and physics. A lot of things actually. Now let's take the color though. Just real quick. If you compress it and you condense it and you fire it together and with a lowered electron amount for the given nucleus and allow for it to come in the correct way and layer it like a plasma deposition almost, you get a polycrystalline structure that is extraordinarily dense and hard, that is a multitude of gray iridescent rainbows. Highly unreactive. Takes a lot of to do something to it. And heat and so on. It's just xenon now. Because life, while it might be grey, it's still full of rainbows and colours that shine iridescently. Even if it doesn't like to react, and fucking, oh, you suck! Look the fuck up, you fucking stuck your head in the ground piece of shit person! We have time. I'm gonna murder something. I'm gonna murder something. I'm gonna murder something. Fuck you. Step, step, step. Step. I'm just motioning you, step. I don't even have a knife in my hand. Is that person that has had some issues over there? No. Oh, really? Oh, that's good. Okay. I see the salad here. That's nice. And I got my, what is this? Fucking Arctic salmon burgers. Whoever wants a cream. Oh yeah. Cream cheese and mustard. Those are the only things on this burger. With the sourdough, no extra sugar, in fact no sugar at all. Bread. Artisan style. Really not the same, huh? I'm ready to save to do that. A couple months. For the bread. I didn't bake the Arctic. You know that, right? Like this is my mom's Arctic salmon burgers. She got them from fucking Costco. Oh yeah, you got that yourself. No, I didn't. None of that happened. I can't buy that. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculously expensive. I can't buy that. Alright. That is the end. There are some extra things there I'm sure I could learn and get better on. I'm just, now you see why I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't even want to look at you. You stupid science stuff. I hate your studies. Ow. Anyways, moving on. Come around here and become my fucking girlfriend and suck my dick. Because honestly, that's what's going on here. You know, writer of the story, at least Truman had a wife and fucked her probably. Fuck you, dude.